Okay guys, so on Tuesday you'll have a quiz in class, and so today we're going to go through this together and we're going to make sure that you guys are prepared for your quiz. So it's just basically a review of what we've been doing in this unit so far. So let's go ahead and look at number 1. Draw your line at the inequality sign, and we're trying to get this x by itself. So we have to make sure that we take care of what is added or subtracted to it first. So we're going to add 6 to both sides to get rid of that minus 6. That cancels out. And then that's going to leave us with a negative 3 on this side. 3x is greater than negative 3. And our last step is to divide both sides by 3. So that gets our x by itself. We do not have to flip the sign because we did not divide by a negative. So our answer is x is greater than negative 1. Okay, number 2. On this one, we see some parentheses, so we know we have to do some distribution. Okay, so 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 2 is a negative 8. Okay. And now we can move some things around to get the x by itself. So we're going to start by adding 8 to both sides to get rid of this minus 8. That cancels that out, zeroes it out. We're left with just 4x is greater than or equal to negative 2. Now we can divide by 4 on both sides. It gives us an x over here. And over here it's a negative 1/2. Or, if you did it in your calculator, you can do it as a decimal. Okay, next problem. Number 3. Go ahead and draw your line. And we want to get the x by itself, so we have this positive 5 here. We're going to have to subtract 5 from both sides to zero that 5 out. And now we're left with negative 3x is less than or equal to 11 minus 5 is 6. Now we got to divide by a negative 3. So what do we do when we divide by a negative 3? We have to flip our sign. So now we have x is greater than or equal to, and then we had 6 divided by negative 3. It's going to give us a negative 2. Number 4. Here, this one starts with a fraction. So remember what we do whenever there's when this is a division problem. So we have to do the opposite of division, which is multiplication. And we're trying to multiply by the reciprocal of that fraction, so it'll cancel out. So we're going to multiply everything by the denominator, which is 3, both sides by 3. When we do that over here, it cancels out the 3's, and we're just left with an x is less than, and the negative 6 times 3 is negative 18. And that's your answer. Number 5. Okay, we're going to take this 5 here, and we're going to move it to the number side. So we're going to subtract 5 from both sides because we want to zero that out, and 5 minus 5 is 0. So now we're left with a negative x divided by 2 is less than or equal to 9 minus 5, which is 4. Okay, so now we have x with a fraction here, just like we did in this problem. So to undo this, we need to multiply, because this is division. We're going to multiply by that denominator, but also make it negative so that we can cancel the negative out and the denominator. So both sides need to multiply by a negative 2. When you do that, it cancels out the negative sign and the denominator. You're just left with x, but we multiplied by a negative. So we're going to flip our sign and then just do this multiplication over here. 4 times negative 2 is a negative 8. And that is your answer. Greater than or equal to negative 8. Okay. Okay, back to the top, number 6. We have to move our numbers first. So let's subtract 2 from both sides. That gives us 0. And this gives us a negative 6. And then we're left with 3x is less than over here. And now we want to move this x to this side. So we have to subtract 5x. Make sure you subtract 5x, not just 5, from both sides. That zeroes it out there, and over here we're left with a negative 2x is less than negative 6. So now we're down to our last step, which is just division. We want to divide off that negative 2 from the x. Got to do it from both sides. That cancels out, but we did just divide by a negative. So we're going to flip our sign. So x is greater than 3. Number 7. Negative 2x plus 10 is less than or equal to 7 minus 2x. So we want to get all of our x terms over here, all of our number terms here. So let's go ahead and start moving this 10 over. Zero that out. We're going to subtract 10 from both sides. We're left with a negative 2x is less than or equal to 7 minus 10, which is negative 3 minus 2x. And then we're going to move this x term to the other side by adding 2x's to both sides. When we do that, this zeroes out. And over here, look, we have this 0 out as well. So we're left with 0 is less than or equal to negative 3. And that's what's left. So is this we canceled out our x's, so we have to look at the statement. Is this a true statement? Is 0 less than or equal to negative 3? No, it's not. False. No solution. That's our second part to that answer. Let's look at number 8. On number 8, because there's no numbers over here, I know normally we put our x's over here and our numbers here, but we're just going to have, if we just move this number over here, then that's an easy move. And then we're left with just numbers on one side and letters on the other. So we're going to subtract, 5x from both sides. And we see that it cancels out as zeros out on both sides. So we're 0 over here, 0 minus 3 over here, less than or equal to 0. So now this is your new statement here. Negative 3 is less than or equal to 0. Is that a true statement? Yes, it is true. And then last. This looks like a lot, but you just break it down. You got to do distribution first anytime we see parentheses. So let's do that first. 2 times x, 2x. 2 times negative 4, negative 8. Don't forget about that 3x plus in the front. Less than. Then we have a negative 8 times x, negative 8x. Negative 8 times 1, negative 8. Is there anything we can do here to clean this up? We have some like terms. Let's go ahead and combine those. 5x, 2x plus 2x is 5x, minus 8 is less than negative 8x minus 8. So we want our x's over here and our numbers over here. So let's go ahead and start by moving our numbers. We're going to add 8 to both sides, and that cancels out, that zeroes out both numbers. Alright, so then we need to move this negative 8x to the other side, so we're going to add 8x to both sides. This makes it 0, so all we're left with over here is 0. And then 8x plus 5x is 13x. So our goal is to get this x by itself. We still have an x, even though we have a 0 over here. That doesn't mean it's true or false. That's only when your x's disappear. So we're going to divide each side by 13. And we're left with x is less than 0, because 0 divided by 13 is 0. That's your answer. Okay, so please make sure you ask questions and you're prepared to answer anything like this for our quiz tomorrow. And that's what we'll be doing in class tomorrow. All right, have a good night.